Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Night Club. Back with you on Boro Fan TV at the Longlands. Tonight I'm joined by AJT. Welcome to the show, mate.
Going to the sauna by the looks of
I know, yeah. I think we maybe need to knock that red light off, mate. Yeah. Roxanne's not in tonight, pal. Yeah. Welcome to the show, pal.
Thank you.
Usually 6 points from 3 games would be a decent return. However, I think tonight we're going to look and see, did our playoff push wilt in the sun in the East Midlands last Monday? Yeah, we'll talk about that in depth later on. Can you see Derby slipping up against Cyril the Swan and his mates on Wednesday evening, allowing Boro to take advantage against Rotherham? Get in touch with us, let us know, Boro fans. Loads to get through in the next 30 minutes. We're going to look at the Stoke game, Forest game, Reading, VAR, fair play, on the pitch, off the pitch.
There's a lot, mate. There's a lot
There's loads to get on, mate, and look ahead to the final league game against Rotherham. So, yeah, as always, Boro fans, loads to get involved with. So let us know your thoughts and views as we look on the last few games and the final game of the season. First thing, mate, AJ, last week there was a meeting in Nottingham, I think a couple of days after we played Forest, that involved all 24 chairmen and club owners of the teams in the Championship, which Steve Gibson wanted to look at the financial dealings of some of the clubs, namely Derby, Villa, Sheffield Wednesday. No action was taken. What did you make of all that scenario?
I didn't, you know, it sounds bad because I didn't look into it massively because I didn't have a clue what the hell was going on. So when I seen it all go on, I thought, for once in my life, I'm going to take a step back from a situation that maybe I should be able to stick my nose into. And I heard about a point deduction. Apparently, Villa and them going to get deducted points. Apparently, it's going to happen next season. It was going to happen at all. And I heard about all these ongoings. And obviously, then for some reason, someone decided to put all of my videos on my own channel and kick off at me about it all. And I thought, look, I don't have a clue what's happening. I honestly don't know. But like you say there about the wheeling and dealing, I don't have, like I say, it sounds bad to sports fans out there, but I genuinely kept my nose out because I didn't have a clue what was all over. I heard about the meeting. And I heard about the points being deducted. And if anything, I probably would have gone through this, or would have gone to the playoffs. But clearly, these things never happen.
Do you think it's clutching at straws a little bit? If I dare say we were in the top 2, like in the Sheffield United position, do you think Steve Gibson would have still been pushing for these action taken against
No, of course he wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's just the fact that he's been panicking now. He realises that this season's been a bit of a... Well, listen, man, the season's been a joke. I think he realises that it's been a mistake and that we've not helped ourselves and that the last little thing can go off, the last little bit of glimmer of hope is let's try and call a meeting. Let's try and deduct some teams' points so my team can get in the playoffs and potentially get all the money back. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. But
I get that he feels hard done by that we've maybe at the cut cost and we've had to sell players that we maybe didn't want to sell because we've tried to stay within the lines of financial fair play and maybe other teams haven't done that. But I think that's then for the authorities to deal with rather than for us to call them out and say, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, haven't you?
I know there was a lot of uproar, wasn't there, between fans from different clubs kicking off at Gibson, but I thought at the end of the day, half of them fans, we should probably have Gibson as a chairman, but for whatever reason Gibson did it for, and obviously it didn't work out for him, and at the end of the day, mate, listen, we've got to take it how it is. Do you know what I mean? Boro 7th. Yeah, okay, we're having a point with Derby, but I can't get away from the fact that if we'd eaten away before, well, listen, ever since them 6 games happened, about if we'd have just took 1 point out of all 6 of them games, we would have been home and dry now. Going to Rotherham, thinking, right, well, we've got Leeds or we've got West Brom in the playoffs. We're absolutely laughing, but now we're looking over our shoulders thinking, but now we're relying on Derby to slip up. And as you say there, realistically, right, them lads are hitting form again. Just gone to Bristol City and beat them 2-0 pretty comfortably. You don't realistically see him slipping up, and it's when I look at it and I just think it's so disappointing that this team has just completely let us down. Yeah,
I think our review of the season, which hopefully won't be next Monday because we'll have playoff games to look at, but when we do that review of the season, I think those 6 games will be looked back on as what's cost us a season.
Us fans didn't deserve it. Us fans didn't deserve what happened, mate. You know what I mean? Us fans never asked for this season to end the way it's ended. Let's be real. It ends next Sunday. And they have to accept the boos if there's anyone booing. They have to accept the Tony Pulis, whatever chance come out, because at the end of the day, we haven't done this. We never told you to go and lose 6 games. We can't step on a pitch and change the way it gets played, mate. Them players, I mean, listen, we lost games that 6-game period. When Boro were winning games, we had half an hour against Brentford. Took off for some ball and brought on front. We lost the game 2-1. That wasn't us that said make the change.
Well, talking to fans, mate, it was also announced last week or the week before about 15,000, almost 15,000 season ticket holders. Were you surprised at that amount? Because I was.
Listen, I thought 7, 8 maybe, but I'm hearing all sorts over the weekend, and I'm hearing it again today. Tony Pulis scenario, right? Now, don't quote me on it. It's what I'm hearing through the grape. You know what I mean? I'm hearing it all over the place. People saying this, people saying that. And now this is what I'm hearing. Now, before the kick-off on Saturday, and it worried me when I heard it, Pulis has got to iron a few things out with Gibson. And if he does iron out the things, a new 18-month contract will be sat in front of him, whether he wants to sign it or he doesn't.
I'll be amazed if he's our manager next season. I'll be truly amazed.
And then I heard it again today from another person that came in and said, oh, no way, I can't believe he's going to sign an 18-month contract.
I can't. For the life of me, I can't see it. I think I read his programme notes on Saturday, and it was more or less signing off his time at the club and saying what we've done. He did mention about he drew comparisons with his reign in a way to Mourinho's at Man United, and said people wanted Mourinho out, and everyone was happy all of a sudden when Solskjaer got the job. Had a great initial burst of matches, good results, victories. We said that sort of slipped back recently, and he said you've got to be careful what you wish for. But I still more or less read into that he's going to be going at the end of the season. But I don't know, like you say, again, there's a lot of rumours going around because nobody seems to know. And I understand that in a way while there's still something to be sorted out with this season. But you would hope the club would take quick action once the season ends with regard to who's going to be the next manager.
Well, I mean, listen, man, that other rumour about Woodgate's getting it and whatnot, but one thing that's annoying me the most is our chairman, mate, is still silent. He still hasn't told us what the expectations are for next season. He hasn't told how much money is available for next season. He hasn't hinted on about any manager that's going to get it apart from Woodgate. And for me, as a chairman, that's listen, he's a Boro fan himself. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's there every single week, home and away. He hears exactly whatever the fans saying. Surely he must be sat there thinking, right, well, I've got to come out and say something now for the fans. Yeah,
just a few things coming in from the viewers there. Yeah, JK, both AJ and myself wish your son Jamie all the best for his brain surgery, the operation he's having next week. He's a massive Boro fan, and then all the family live in Manchester, so we want to wish him all the best from everyone here at Boro Fan TV. Yeah, Steve up the Boro. The season's going to end on Sunday, lads. Let's get rid of the deadwood, out the club, and go again. I can understand that in some way. It's not as easy as just saying get rid of players, is it? Because if they're on big contracts and earning good money, you've got to get either some money in from them or get clubs that are going to take their contracts on. And it's not that easy, is it?
Gistad, I mean, Gistad 50k a week.
I think his contract is up in the summer.
Is it up in the summer?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, Gistad's been nothing short of a bit of disaster since he's been at the Boro. Don't get me wrong. There's a period when he came in, wasn't there, and he was going on a scoring sort of, and then he did his ankle, and it is what it is. But I agree there. We've got too many players in this football club that I look at and I think we could get decent money for you. And we could sort of reduce the sort of wage bill and then go out and then buy some talented players. Yeah. Because at the minute, I want to build a team around Lewis Wing.
That's the way to go. And I think we'll look at that like we say when we do our end of season review. Yeah. But I think that's it. You've got to look at young players. It means something to them, the club, and they'll bust a gut. I mean, you look at Sheffield United this year, Norwich, teams that are full of young players. And I think our team won't be far off probably the highest average age in the division. And it's proven, I've lost count the number of games where we look to be absolutely dead on our feet. Doesn't matter how many fitness runs you've done in Austria or whatever stats you've got. We look shattered come the end of games. And again, I thought we were hanging on for dear life on Saturday against Reading.
I thought Shotton for me, it's the worst game he's ever had for me on Saturday. First half, he was passing it to their players. He couldn't do a thing. You know, like a Flint now, he just sits at the back of the defence, doesn't really do anything much more than that. And I just think this season, for me, there's more. When you look at it on a bigger scale, there's more negatives than what was positives to take out of this season for me. And I think first of all, they're coming the transfers. Then it comes with some players' performances, attitudes, etc. Martin Braithwaite being one of them straight away. I just think in the summer we've got to just sort ourselves out. But it's one of them where it's Lewis Wing, like he's a Sunday League player before he came to Boro. Played for Shildon. Shout out to him on 2nd of June. But he played for Shildon. He came in for Boro. I mean, imagine the feeling of that. Yeah. Boro coming in, right? You're playing for Shildon, then Boro comes in for you. Yeah. And that's what it means to me, is that this is almost like a lifeline for, like, do you know what I mean? Obviously, what was he, 23, 24? Yeah. He probably didn't even think he was ever going to make it.
That's it, yeah. So he's taken that opportunity. Yeah. He's ran with it, hasn't he? And it means a lot to him, and you can see that on the pitch. And I think it's a league, the Championship, where you need legs in your team. Yeah. A bit of fitness about it. It's an unforgiving league. It's a tough league, and I think that's been proven this season. 100%. Anyway, mate, on to the action on the pitch. Good Friday seems a while ago now. We beat Stoke City 1-0. Yeah. Got an early goal from Britta Sombalonga. That game saw Paddy McNair come back into the scene. Now, he's had a strange season. We bought him for over £5 million from Sunderland, hardly featured. Yeah, he has in the last 3 games. What have you made of his performances?
I didn't rate him when Boro signed him. I made a video about 20 minutes on kicking off about Boro and our recruitment team and how badly I think he is. But I'll be honest with you, the last 3 games, he's, you know what I mean? He's been an absolute spot-on player for us. Yeah. He hasn't put a foot wrong.
And I feel for him because I think he's been bought here as a midfielder. He scored 10 goals, I think, last season in a poor Sunderland team that got relegated. Yet he's barely played. I think he started the first game of the season at Millwall, and then he's not been seen after that. And yes, he's come in the last 3 games, but he's been part of a 3-man centre defence because we've got no centre halves back. But he has done well, hasn't he?
Well, let's say, a bit like Johnny House, and he gets on with his job, and he plays with us, he gets told to play. And for me, I just think, well done, because so far he's probably been. He's almost like a breath of fresh air to our sort of like back line. Yeah. He's not even a defender, he's a midfielder, so credit to him, do you know what I mean? He came in, do you know what I mean? He took his opportunity again, another one took his opportunity. Yeah. And then looking off season, and listen, it must be frustrating. It's coming for £5 million, expecting to sort of get ready to go up a little bit. Listen, after he's been a Sunderland, listen, he can't get much higher, do you know what I mean? But it's one of them where, he came in, done his job, and fair play to him. Yeah, no, fair point, mate. So after that result against Stoke, Bristol City and Derby drop points that day. That saw us jump back into the top 6. We then went to the City Ground this time last week, a venue that's not often been a happy place for us to go to. And that was once again the case, wasn't it, last Monday? And that was an absolute horror show. I would put that up there with Villa and Swansea away, that game last Monday. Yeah, it's an ask about the stadium. I said it's the worst I've seen.
It's worst I've seen.
Villa accepted, because Villa at the time were, like they are now, unbeaten, they were flying. Villa's Villa away. If you set with one up front, you're going to get hammered, and that's what happened. Swansea away, again, same sort of thing. One up front again, wasn't it? Swansea, and it was actually was coming. Nottingham Forest took me by surprise, where I thought, and the only time I come on and said, I'm not blaming Pulis because he's gone attacking. He hasn't changed the lineup.
Did that surprise you? Because everyone was expecting, and he even came out after the Stoke game and said, there'll be changes to the team, which I thought, well, I get that, because we did look, again, tired at the end of the Stoke game. It's only 2 days later, and I thought, there'll be changes to go to Forest. Yet he went unchanged lineup. Did that surprise you, mate?
It surprised me in the fact that I thought, wow, he's actually been positive for once. He's, do you know what I mean? He's trusting his strikers, he's trusting the team. Looked at it and I thought to myself, do you know what? We're not going to get beat. We're not even going to concede. And, before the game started, the Boro fans, next year, even they were saying, do you know what, we could do this 1-2, 1-0. To come out in the way they played, to show nothing on the field, to not show anything for the badge, it was like, I
think the first half hour, you could see that Forest, before that game, had lost 4 in a row. And they looked like a team that weren't particularly interested in the game. They weren't offering very much. We did nothing, though. We didn't take any initiative at all in the game, did we? We just seemed to be, right, we're just going to stay in the game. As we've seen so often this season, we didn't go after them or anything, put them under pressure. There was just nothing there at all, was there?
No desire to want to get on the ball and do anything. When we did get on the ball, more better shit went over the bar. And that was if the whole first half. And you're looking at it thinking, hang on a minute, what on earth? And then obviously, their penalty's their penalty. But even at 1-0, you're still in the game. You're not out the game. But some of them players, I'll be honest with you, look beaten right before it even got kicked off. When they came out the tunnel, I thought, for them, I'm clapping the away spot they normally do. They turn around, it's just another game to them. And again, you look at Nottingham Forest and you think, them 3 points are even a point.
That could have made a massive difference, Like Matthew Gross said then, Forest were missing some big players last week. Matthew was also mentioned there about we only have ourselves to blame for this season. We've had so many chances to solidify our playoff spot. If you go back to the Brentford game, if we won that, we'd have gone 9 points clear at that time of 7th position. Like you say, we've had so many chances. In that game at Forest last week, I thought what stood out for me was, again, as it has all season again, a lack of creativity and a lack of pace in that team. Just nothing there, was there? And then you looked at Forest, and they had wing-backs like us, but they had wing-backs that were like wingers that will go forward, not centre midfielders that are playing as wing-backs. And you had players that were like finding space. Carvalho had a great game, didn't he?
Smashed it,
Joe Lolly played great here at the Riverside, had another great game last week. And if I'm being honest, mate, if it hadn't been for Darren Randolph, that could have been about 7 or 8, that couldn't it, last week?
There was a chance to send that for them when it went over to the right back position. There was no right back covering him, and I think I mean that Matty Cash saved it. I thought that could have been 4. It was really, listen, I wouldn't even say I was angry. I say I was just disappointed in the lack of effort and the lack of commitment and everything to do with the game, because we went into that one thinking, it's bank holiday weekend, we've had a great sort of Monday. I did anyway, do you know what I mean? Obviously, I went to Hooters pre-match, and the Hooters was absolutely fantastic, but I went there thinking it's going to be good, it's going to be a good game, I'm really going to enjoy myself. Do you know what I mean? Enjoyed my dinner, great view, and then I went to the game and I thought, oh my.
Yeah.
I mean?
I drove down there and coming home after the game, I put BBC Radio Nottingham on just to find out what they were saying.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. They had an ex-player, Steve Hodge, who played for England, on there, and they had the summarisers and other people that were there as well. And they said after the game, with the greatest respect, Middlesbrough are the worst team they've seen at the City Ground this season. Now, you bear in mind what's in our division. I know Bolton haven't gone there. They're there in the last game of the season. But Ipswich have been there. You've had Rotherham there. And like I say, teams that are right down the bottom. And they said, without doubt, Middlesbrough are the worst team they've seen. They said they can't believe that they're just outside the club. It is, isn't it?
Embarrassing. It's so like, whenever you hear a statement like that, we don't even play for the football club. And even we feel embarrassed as fans. When I come out the stadium, right, when I come out the City Ground, I wanted to put my head down. I didn't want anybody to know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how embarrassing I didn't want anyone to see my Boro top. I was to keep my head down and just walk. And obviously, me doing the interviews and whatnot, it was one of them. I'm doing the interviews and looking around thinking, there's Forest fans laughing and pointing at us.
I know I walked back to the car because my car was parked near Notts County's ground, and there was a few Forest fans shouting out, your manager needs to be sacked. Yeah. And that's them shouting that to us. They've only watched us twice this season. I don't know how many times we watched them.
Both times they smashed us.
Yeah.
You know, this season, like I say, I mean, Boro have had the chances. Listen, man, we could talk all night about the Boro, the chances and the games and whatnot. Alex Griffin, the Ipswich Town vlogger, actually, Ipswich Town fan, goes home and away. League One next season for him. Can we get sick, Alex? Mate, listen, can I get a palm whilst on a diet? It's as hard as that, innit? It's as hard as that. So,
well, there's still hope. There's still a glimmer of hope, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But I mean, like I say, I think you'll have probably noticed it last week. There were sections of the travelling support that were starting to get on Tony Pulis' case towards the end of that game at Forest. And like you say, I think, to be honest, Boro fans have been very tolerant this season, haven't they?
Listen, I don't think you can blame Boro fans. They're now voicing their opinion. And whether people at the club like it, I don't know if players like it or fans like it, it's a lot of money. Listen, it's a lot of money. I don't care what anyone says. Whether these Boro fans that were singing their songs go to one game all season long or whatever, it still costs them over 60 quid to go that away game. Yeah. And when you spend that amount of money and you go and watch your team at Nottingham Forest and it's that dire and it's that sort of, there's nothing there. We couldn't come out the stadium and say anything was positive. I don't know if we had a shot on target.
No, I can't remember anything.
And you come away from it, you think to yourself, these lads that we played were on the beach, right? They're nothing to play for. They can't go
in a row before that game.
That's what I mean. They can't go down. They had nothing to play for.
Destroyed us.
And they wiped the floor. They made us look so stupid and so embarrassing after that game. And then players even have the courtesy to even walk over and clappers would have been even more worse. So when the fans are singing to Tony Pulis about this, and voice your opinion, because at the end of the day, well, the club can't expect us to stand there and just be like, oh, well, that was decent. Yeah. We're going to voice the opinion, whether people like it or not. Listen, we're paying a lot of money. Season tickets now, 15,000 season tickets are gone. And
it's passion as well. Like you're voicing the people want the team desperately to do. We don't want to come on and criticise them and say we're not happy with this. We want the team to do well.
None of us like seeing Boro get beat.
No.
It hurts. And that game, to be fair, ruined my whole week was ruined because of that result. The 3-0 just an absolute, just diabolical result. And the thing is now, it won't go away that hurt feeling of that game because even at the end of the season, there's going to be if, buts and maybes flying about. And that's one of the games you're going to look at and say, how embarrassing was that? Not the Forest away.
Well, Jonathan Carlin said it's not all over yet. See what happens at the end of this week. Steve Trodden, realistically, with the momentum Derby have, they should get the 4 points out of 6 that they need. So I don't think there's any chance of us making the playoffs. John W, too many mercenaries here for a payday at the Boro. Strong words, but I think there'll be a few people that will agree with that. Let's have a look. The cup, David Jackson's mentioned the 2 cup eliminations. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you can forgive getting knocked out the cup by Burton and Newport if we'd have ended up doing something in the league. But to end up now potentially not even making a playoff place, it's been a really disappointing season if that happens, isn't it?
It's the thing is, it started off so well, and don't get me wrong, Boro fans have high expectations every single season. You watch next season, Boro will go and sign one player, and everyone wants to win the league. It's Boro fans for you, but it's like any fan. And at the end of the day, to go through August, mate, and listen, smash teams, that's what we were doing. We were going to Bristol City away and hammering them. We played Sheffield United off the park, who's just been promoted. We did them in 30 minutes. Yeah. And you're looking at it and thinking to yourself, we've got a genuine good chance here doing whatever Boro want to go and do. And then you go to Norwich, and then from Norwich away, it goes downhill. And you look back on it now and you think to yourself, I don't know what happened, because that Leeds away game when we drew 0-0, And we had them to a 0-0. And again, do you know what I mean? They had the chance of going up, but it is what it is. And you look back at it now and you think to yourself, I don't know what at Norwich went wrong. And then it went downhill from there.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Dobson, that's a great point, that. Draws at home against teams like Rotherham are more crushing than the Forest away defeat. I think our home form has been poor this year. We've won 10 at home, drawn 6, lost 7 at home. And that's going to kill us, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's going to cost us, like you say,
I agree
with the likes of Rotherham.
Remember that Rotherham at home?
But yeah, that's 2
remember
points
Swansea
there.
at home when we drew?
Swansea at home,
0-0.
Yeah.
And I looked at the away fan and they were hugging each other in the away end and jumping all over. And that's what it meant for them to get a point at that time against Butter.
Yeah.
For Rotherham to come in and get a 0-0. And you think to yourself, you know what it is? 10 players. If they can't be bothered that particular night, how bothered are you going to become the end of the season? When, you know what I mean? At Rotherham away, when you see us all stood there, and listen, you're going to get booed, maybe. Or you're going to get chiggied. But at the end of the day, listen, when I hear all these sort of chants out, listen, as much as I don't agree with them, I don't blame the fans voicing their opinion.
No, hey, you pay your money, you can do that, voice your opinion. I get that all day long. I mean, the bounce back on Saturday from the Notts Forest disappointment, the beat Reading 2-1 in the last home league game. And it was great to see Lewis Wing back in the team. He announced his arrival with another goal.
Fantastic. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, been saying since he was out, that's exactly what we've been missing. Lewis Wing, like I say then, build a team around him. So he is the future. Tavernier is the future.
Yeah.
Fletcher, build a team around them 3 players, and that's guarantees next season. Yeah,
all those sort of players. Walker, get them involved in the match day squad.
See, Walker is I can't talk highly enough of Steve Walker. Honest, listen, he's an absolute fantastic player.
It might be a lot to put him straight in there when he hasn't got a great deal of league experience, but I think he's definitely got to start being involved in the 18.
MK Dons at the minute. You know what I mean? He's doing well. MK Dons at the minute. And next season, score the youth, bring in a young side who's going to be fit. Who's going to be at it all season long.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Well, Tinder.
I don't know. No. Who was that? You? And like I say, I mean, a young fit team. We'll go from there.
I'll let you go, mate. But yeah, I mean, it was a good result on Saturday. And I know British Sunderland got his 15th goal of the season. But I think Derby's win against Bristol City, it means it's out of our hands now. Can you see Derby doing a derby? Falling apart again, or do you think it's gone?
Momentum is a massive thing now, isn't it? In football, and Frank Lampard, he's done a terrific job at Derby this season. So if anybody expected him to finish inside the top 6, I thought, listen, I certainly didn't. And having fallen away so many times, they'll know exactly. You know what I mean? They will know the feeling of hurt of falling away so many times. Now, whether or not they're going to go on and win the playoffs doesn't matter to them very much. Swansea is a tough place to go.
It is.
You know what I mean? Not many. I don't think many teams have gone there this season and won.
It's a bit of a disappointment they didn't beat Hull, because if they'd have beaten Hull on Saturday, they still would have had an outside chance themselves of getting the playoffs. So I think even though their managers come out today and said, I'm still going to put out a team to win, when you don't actually have something to really go for, that will take a little bit of an edge from their performance.
I guess the only thing we can hope for is probably what is their last game of the season at home.
Yeah, it's their last home match.
They want to go out on a high.
Yeah.
And often enough, whenever that happens, you do often beat the team that's in front of you. You look at that one, and then you look at the one on Sunday with the West Brom, and you think to yourself, again, West Brom could push for 3rd and try and get an easier team if they see it. Sorry, that is the laptop as well. That is the laptop. I don't know who's trying to ring us, but that is the laptop. Tony Pulis, we are busy at the minute. But I look at it now, and I think West Brom, Sunday, realistically, mate, I hope for a point and hope for about 3 points, but I don't know.
I think you deal with Wednesday first. See what comes at Swansea. I mean, I'd be amazed if Swansea did beat Derby on Wednesday, but it's not beyond possibility. The Championship's a strange league. Anything can happen in it. Yeah. But I would expect Derby to get something from there on Wednesday. I just think now, if we can take it to the last game, you never know.
Yeah. Bit of excitement, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives us something to play for, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, by the way, have you got something to warn up about? On Monday, was it you that took that helium-filled balloon of a dinosaur into the ground?
Oh, it wasn't me. That was actually a Reading fan, that.
Was it a Reading fan?
It was actually a Reading fan.
Fantastic, that wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people said that was their highlight of the season, that.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was so funny, actually.
Yeah. Then a Reading player took it out on the touchline, didn't he?
Yeah, he stamped on it and I thought, hey, man, don't kill the dinosaur.
That's a 3-match ban, that. Never mind what Patrick Bamford's done.
This don't mention Patrick Bamford on it.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Talking about, like, fair play and VAR and everything that was going on. A couple of weeks ago, there was a Champions League game between Man City and Tottenham. Man City thought they'd got the semi-final of the Champions League with that last-minute goal.
Madness.
And then all of a sudden, all the celebrating the ground stopped. They were investigating if it was a goal or not. What was your thoughts on that and VAR in general?
That was one of the maddest games I'll see for a long, long time.
It was unreal, wasn't it, that first 20 minutes or so?
It was just an absolute madness. Like I say, man, at the end, you sensed the goal coming, right? As soon as they went on that break, I said to myself, he's going to score this. It went in, and I'm seeing them all go mental. Yeah. And then I think it must have come up VAR.
Yeah.
And you've seen all the fans still go mad and thinking, stop celebrating because it hasn't happened yet. And for me, I think, you know what comes made? I thought to myself, that happened to Boro one time now.
Yeah.
Wembley, 19th minute, Boro fan going to win at Wembley, and that had happened to us.
Yeah. I know
Madness.
Sol Starling, great contributor to the show. He said we need VAR in the AFL. Now, I don't like VAR for that reason alone. Yeah. I think football is a game where there's going to be mistakes. Officials make mistakes. Players make mistakes. And I just find it unbelievable that you could go crazy celebrating a goal, a last-minute win to get the semi-final of Champions League, then be told 90 seconds later, actually, it's not a goal now. Yeah. And you've gone crazy. So what are you going to do now when you score a goal? Are you going to say, can't celebrate yet? I've got to wait to see if anything comes up on that big screen over there. I'm not a fan of it. I don't
like VAR. No. I never have done. I put up with it. Yeah. Listen, the World Cup, it was certainly a laugh and everyone kept doing this all the time. But for me, it's called a beautiful game for a reason, and it's killing the beautiful game. Yeah. Stupid rules that are coming in now about even the whole penalty thing in the Carabao Cup, and you know, whether it's one team takes one and two.
Yeah.
When I didn't like that. Take it back to the old. Yeah, listen, if I was in charge of this football or whatever, I'd bring all the old rules back in because that was football then. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This whole shake your hands before you go and start. No. Get out to your side. Run. Do you know, that's what I'd love to do. But VAR for me, I put up with it. I don't like it. If it ever came into the Championship, Boro inside the Championship. For me, it was. I hate it.
It's in the Premier League next year, isn't it, VAR? But I don't know if that's going to be troubling us now. But,
you know what I mean? If you've got a team who's going up the season, like a Sheffield United, who goes to Chelsea, scores in the last minute, and then they say, actually, I haven't scored that.
Yeah.
It's relegation.
It's a killer in it. I don't like. I'm not a fan of that. And I know one or two people that are watching the show have already spoke about this as well. Yesterday's game, which was unbelievable at Ellen Road between Leeds and Aston Villa, and some of the things that were going on there. I mean, with regards to the goal, the first goal that Leeds got, where he should have put the ball out of play, and then the reaction to that involving Patrick Bamford. What did you make of all that, mate?
First of all, that sums up Leeds to a T. And whether or not people like me to sit there or not, I'm going to have to be truthful. The lad's meant to kick it out of play, and clearly doesn't. Yeah. And then he runs on the scores. Yeah. And you're looking at who ran grabs all of them, and you think to yourself, oh, what the heck? And then, to be fair, a little bit of respect for Bielsa for saying, totally. Let them go and score.
And even then, Janssen tried to stop it, didn't he?
Janssen I've never liked. He is a real sort of horrible defender. But for him to try and get involved when your manager's told that, I just have a little bit of respect. Just try and respect your manager. And to be fair to him, listen, Bielsa, fair play to you, because that's when I thought respect to him, because he didn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have to do that, but he did. So fair play. Yeah. Good
question here from Leo G. Nsue and Albert, or Shotton and Howson?
What's that one?
Nsue and Albert. So would you have them as a pairing on your right-hand side, or Shotton and Howson?
Shotton. I'd take Howson. I'd have to go with Shotton.
Would you have Howson ahead of Albert Adoma? No chance, mate.
I love Johnny Howson, mate. No, I do. Do you know what? I love Johnny Howson because
I think he's put the effort in. But do you know what? For me personally, for the money we've paid, I expected more. I've expected more from Howson. I've been a little bit. I don't know what he does. I don't really know what he does. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't create chances. For that sort of money in the Championship, I'm expecting more from him than someone that just works out.
I love his attitude. Johnny Howson's attitude. I love his attitude. And I love how much he gives for the shirt every week. And that's all I ever ask. So for me, well, listen, Albert Adoma when he was here was class.
Albert, you got an end product with. You got goals. You got chances.
You probably will have to go with them two. And you're looking at it on the sort of balance of things.
Yeah, I know David Jackson there said about the Villa red card yesterday about Bamford. That's got to be rescinded, that hasn't it? And I think Bamford's
3-match ban. If you're going to listen, if the EFL is trying to ban other lads for not touching him, it's disgusting what Bamford did.
I was shocked that he reacted. I was amazed. I was amazed he reacted in the way he did, and it doesn't reflect well on him, does it? It doesn't reflect well on him at all.
It's absolutely pathetic of a player of his professionalism to go and do that. How pathetic is that? For all the younger kids watching him yesterday, And then, do you know what I mean? That's why there's so much diving in the football. And how pathetic of a man to jump on the floor when you haven't even been touched. Fair enough if he smacked you across the head. Take a punch in your life or something like that. But you know what I mean? If you've punched and then you're going down, fair play. But to go down, and in the way you went down, screaming and holding your head, shut up, Bamford, will you, man? I hope he gets a free match ban for that, because that yesterday was absolutely disgusting, and it cannot be in football for me.
He just looks a little bit unhappy, I think, when you look at Bamford. I mean, during the game, I think there was an incident where he tried to take a shot from miles out, 30 yards out, and Hernandez was wanting the ball on the right-hand side, and you can see Hernandez was chuntering away. And I'm thinking, he doesn't look as though he's a player that's happy there at Leeds. I don't know, I might be wrong, but he doesn't give the impression of being happy.
Whenever players leave the Boro to better up the career, that's what happens. You're not happy. I mean, like I say, Patrick Bamford, when he was at the Boro, he had a fan base that loved him. Everybody loved Patrick Bamford, even though he went to Norwich after Boro, whatever.
Fan, I like Bamford,
everybody loved Bamford. For him to then leave and go to Leeds, whether it was a money thing or whatever, listen, Bamford, if you're not enjoying your time, mate, it's not our problem. At the end of the day, we liked you. You had a fan base here. After what you did yesterday, I don't ever want you to see inside a Boro shirt ever again. Simple as that.
I think Jack Hunter's agreeing with you there, AJ, on the Johnny Howson debate. He's saying that he's the Boro's version of James Milner.
I like Johnny Howson. I just do. I think he's just a workhorse, mate. And for me, he doesn't get enough credit, Johnny Howson. It does me head in, because I think to myself, there's individuals in the team that do very, very little, and people will big him up. And then you look at the likes of Johnny Howson, you think, no one mentions him and whatever he does on a football pitch, but he doesn't get enough credit from me.
I just think we need players that offer something else in that team, and I think maybe in the team that's got creativity around him, he may well have been a better player for us. But I think there's just too much of a muchness in our midfield, and he doesn't offer anything different to what we've already got there. And I just think that's where we've lacked this season.
Maybe is it experience? See,
but he does have. But now you've got Mikel there. You've had Clayton in there the last few games.
If you look at next season, if we don't place that midfield and it's Clayton and Howson, you might see that sort of attacking side come back out from Howson, maybe.
I think Wing's got to be the main man in that midfield next season.
Wing and
I don't mind a little bit of experience in there to go with it, but you need youth, you need legs in that team.
Wing and Tavernier are in that team every single week next season. There's something massively wrong.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's Villa. Leeds touched upon there. We go to already relegated Rotherham at the weekend for our final league game of the season. Like we said earlier on, it's even more disappointing. I think we dropped 2 points at home to them in October. And I mean, fair play to Rotherham. I mean, they've got one of the smallest budgets, if not the smallest budget in the Championship. But even though they're already relegated, they'll still want to sign off with a win on Sunday, won't they?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? In front of their home fans. And I was thinking in my head, do you know what I mean, all week long here now. It's going to be getting at me, and I'm thinking to myself, they've got nothing to play for. It's their pride. Could do us Friday now, man. But the thing is, though, you can see it happening because they've got nothing to play for. They know exactly what Boro have got to play for still. And they're not going to lie down to us.
I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. With if there's something to play for Boro, I think it'll be a close game. And I know there's been stuff come out in the papers today about players saying, oh, we're going to go for this, we're going to do this at both barrels all on Sunday. Yeah. I think if it's already decided and Derby have won at Swansea during the week, I can see us probably getting turned over at Rotherham. But I think if we've got something to play for, I don't think we'll absolutely go at them, because we're not set up that way. We can't go after teams. I think it'll be a nervy, cagey game, and I think if anything, we might sneak it 1-0 or something like that. But my big fear is if it's already all over and Swansea have lost to Derby, I can see us getting turned over at Rotherham on Sunday.
That's the truth. Do you know I mean? These players I'll be looking at that. I mean, one eye will be on the beach on Wednesday night when they watch Derby v Swansea.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They'll be on the Thomas Cook website, on the laptop, ready, 9:30. Any time goes up 0-0 or 1-0, whatever. Thinking, right, maybe you want to go here because I'm about to book this to go out on Monday. That's the way I'll end up going. And like I say, the season's been nothing short of disaster. I've said it for a while now. And make the playoffs, then Boro got to win the playoffs for me to make it a good season. But
we'll deal with the playoffs if we get there, mate. Because I mean,
that's it.
The scenario is now if we did make the playoffs, it'd be Leeds in the semi-final. So I tell you what, you couldn't have asked for anything more there, could you? Another return trip to Welland Road, that'd be nice for you. But I think that's some way off at the minute. That's the nightmare scenario there from David Jackson. Knowing Boro, Derby will lose both games and Rotherham will still beat us.
Yeah, do you know what? That could happen as well.
Yeah.
And Derby will go bloody goal difference or something.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see. There's one or two other people there thinking Boro might sneak in. So prediction time, mate. We've got these games coming up this week. I think I did the last one.
Did you win the last week?
I got 4. I got 4 out of 6, mate. Yeah, so this time we've got 5 fixtures. Starting off tomorrow night, bit of a we'll get James, the cameraman, involved in this and all. Millwall, Bristol City tomorrow. Bristol City more or less out of it now, really, but
4 points behind us, aren't they?
yeah.
Millwall win the game 2-0.
Well, that'll be the end of it with Bristol City.
Yeah.
James?
I'm going to go 2-1 Bristol.
2-1, so they'll still be in it. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. The big one then on Wednesday night, Swansea against Derby.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 Swansea.
Oh, that'd be an amazing result.
2-1. I just
Swansea.
feel like the last home game for them in the season, in front of the fans, they're going to go out on a high. 2-1 Swansea.
James?
I'm going to go, I have to say Swansea. 3-1, I'm going to say.
3-1 Swansea.
Oh,
Gareth Jones there. That's a Welsh name, isn't it? Gareth Jones. 1-0 Swansea. I've gone down 2-2. 2-2 draw. So that keeps it up the last day if that was to happen.
Swans win there.
So then the final day of the season, so Hull, Bristol City. If Bristol City have still got something to play for, that's a tough game. Now, wait at Hull. No, it's at Hull. Bristol City, yeah.
Hull are hit and miss at home, aren't they?
Yeah, funny saying.
You probably see, listen, it's last game of the season, both have gone off to play for. Hull, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Hull.
2-0 Hull.
1-0.
1-0. I've gone 3-1 Hull. I've got there Stu, W123. Derby draw both games, 1-1, and Boro win 2-0 fan game. That'd be enough.
Hope so.
So Derby, West Brom, talking to Derby's last game. Derby, West Brom. West Brom securing 4th spot. What's going to happen on the final day?
Somebody's telling me Derby probably will win the game. But, of course, I wanted to go on the final day. I want Boro to go into the top 6. I'm going to go for a draw, mate.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for probably a 2-2.
2-2 draw.
2-2.
James?
1-0 again.
Well, you lads are going with your heart there, right? It's only going with your heart.
Yeah.
I've got Derby to win 2-0. I think West Brom will rest a fair few players. I won't want to, especially if Derby have to win.
Yeah.
I think they'll rest a few. They won't, and I don't think they'll really want to do Tony Pulis a favour.
No
I don't think their fans will be particularly cheering for a win that day. I think Derby will win that 2-0. So to finish off, Boro at Rotherham.
I'll go 2-1 Boro.
2-1 Boro.
Yeah.
6-0 Boro.
6-0
Where's that come from?
We need 7 men in order to get in the playoffs. We need 7.
Yeah. I've gone 2-1 Boro as well. Just to hopefully finish off with the final 3 points. Well, lads, thanks very much. Enjoyed that tonight. We're out of time, everybody. Thanks for watching, as always, on the Monday Night Club. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube. The crew will be out at the New York Stadium on Sunday for the final league game of the season. Hopefully there's 2 more matches at least after that, but we'll wait and see. So catch up with them there. Next week we'll be going out on the Tuesday because it is bank holiday. So next week we'll be looking back at the Rotherham game. It may well be an end of season review as well, or hopefully it might be a look ahead to 2 games with Leeds United in the playoffs, or will be revealed. So until then, from myself, James Hutchinson, AJT, James on the camera. Good night, everyone, and up the Boro. Come on, the Swans.